So as we are sitting in a comfortable meditation posture with the back erect, side cast down, let's make the first determination in our minds voicelessly. From now on, for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on, for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on, for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. And with that determination, we can gently, lovingly notice the flat piece of flesh at the top of the head. We allow it to be heavy. And changing. We continue in this manner to the forehead, eyes, nose, lips, chin, cheeks, ears, back of the head, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the head to be heavy. We continue to the neck, shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, palms, fingers, tips of fingers, chest, abdomen, back, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the upper part of the body to be heavy. We continue to the buttocks, thighs, knees, calves, heels, soles, toes, tips of toes, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the body to be heavy. And we enjoy the heaviness. And we observe what does this heaviness do with the mind, and what does the mind do with the heaviness. Now, as we have allowed the body to be the way it is, let's enjoy the freedom from worry about the body. Let's enjoy the peace. The body will be the way it is. We just allow it to be so. And as we have achieved peace, let's share it with other living beings. We can start in our room, in our minds, voicelessly. We can recite a sentence. You repeat it again and again, and aware of its meaning, we radiate loving kindness. May all beings in this room be in peace. May all beings in this room be in peace. And we can gradually increase and expand our thoughts of loving kindness. May all beings in this building be in peace. May all beings in this village or city be in peace. May all beings in this country be in peace. May all beings on this continent be in peace. May all beings on this planet be in peace. May all beings, including me, be in peace. And as we enjoy the peace in ourselves and the permission for all other living beings to also enjoy peace, we observe what's going on in the relationship between the mind and the object of loving kindness. Is the mind still with the object of loving kindness? Or is it thinking or feeling or listening to something? What's going on? The idea is that the more mindful, aware you are of your mind, the easier it will be to stay with your meditation object. So we still have one more minute. May all beings, including me, be in peace. Now, because the time for this sitting is finished, let's make the last determination in our minds voicelessly. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. And with that determination, we can slowly, mindfully change the way of our sitting. And when we have changed the way of our sitting, let's take one more minute during which we will not move at all and observe the peace we gained in meditation. Okay. So seems like we have increased in number. So I'm wondering whether you are all comfortable with the time we start, or whether it would be better to start later, so that you are also comfortable coming. Caitlin, how do you feel about it? Do you think if we start every week 30 minutes later, would it be more comfortable? Or do you think the time we start, what's the time now in your place, Caitlin?
It's currently 8:36.
I see.
I just was so used to coming here at 8:30, I forgot that we moved the class 30 minutes earlier. So it was my fault for forgetting and not putting an alarm. So I don't mind either time.
You're fine with that? Okay, then that's great. And Lenghom, what do you think about the time we start? Where do you live, Lenghom? Excuse me?
Kentucky.
Is that the East Coast or West Coast? What's the time in your place now?
It's 10 p.m.
It's not 9 p.m.?
10 p.m.
10 p.m. You have 10 p.m. now? Uh-huh. So that's something like the middle, right? You're somewhere in the mid how do you call that region? If it is neither West Coast nor East Coast.
Like a central time.
Central time, I see. Central time.
Yeah.
So Lenghom, do you think that I see you have now 10:37. Very well. Okay. Okay. So is it comfortable for you if we start at your 10 p.m.? Langham? Yes? All right. So that is California time 8 p.m., right? And the central time, it's 10 p.m. Okay, that's good. All right. So let's move on to our chanting. Today we have Sri Lankan pronunciation. All right. So today, I think we can, from today onwards, we can actually try to do it without the paper and see how well you can make it. So I would like to ask everyone to unmute and keep your hands together like this. That means that you take it seriously, that you're serious about taking the refuges and the 5 precepts. And we will be doing it without the paper to see if you can. So I will say Yamahang Vadami Tang Vadeta, and you can reply Ama Bhante, which means yes, Venerable Sir. So let's try that together. Yamahang Vadami Tang Vadeta. Okay, let's try it again. I didn't hear you well. Yamahang Vadami Tang Vadeta. Perfect. So now you can repeat after me. This is the Sri Lanka pronunciation. Most of you already know it so well. Aham Bhante Tisaranena Saha Panchasilang Dhammang Yachami Anugahang Katva Silang te thame bhante. Anukampang upadaya. Dutiyampi aham bhante. Tisaranena saha. Panchasilang dhammang yachami. Anuggahang katva. Silang deta me bhante. Anukampang upadaya. Tatiyampi aham bhante. Tisaranena saha. Panchasilang dhammang yachami. Anuggahang katva. Silang deta me bhante. Anukampang upadaya. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, dhammang saranang gacchami, sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Sarana-gamanang paripunnang. Very well. So now come the 5 precepts. The first precept means I follow the rule of refraining from killing living beings. It means we never harm anyone. We support everyone in their happiness, both in the body and in the mind. Panatipata. Veramani sikkhapadang. Samadhiyami. The second precept means I follow the precept of refraining from taking what is not given. It means we never steal. We cherish everyone's possession, and if we want to borrow something, first we ask for permission. Adinadana. Veramani sikkhapadang. Samadhiyami. The third precept means I follow the precept of refraining from sexual misconduct. That means that if you have a husband or a wife, you are faithful to them, you do not cheat on them, and ideally you do not even fall in love with anyone else than your husband or wife. Kamesu michhachara Veramani sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. The fourth precept means I follow the rule of refraining from false speech. It means we never tell a lie, we always tell what is true. Musavada Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. The last rule means I follow the precept of refraining from drinking alcohol and taking drugs. And we never drink alcohol, even very little bit, even for a very special occasion or just because it's rarely. We never do that because we cherish our mindfulness and the clarity of the mind, and we know that alcohol may actually damage our brain and our health. So why would I be damaging myself? Why would I be harming myself? Why don't I punch myself? Because I don't want to harm myself. So it's the same reason why I don't punch myself, in the same reason I do not drink alcohol. If you punch yourself, you will get healthy, very probably. But if you drink alcohol, it's very probable that it will have lasting effect on your brain. So it's actually even worse to drink alcohol than to punch yourself. But that doesn't mean that you should punch yourself. Okay. So, Sura Meraya. Majja Pamadatthana Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. So now I will encourage you to be mindful, to protect and follow these 3 refuges and the 5 precepts very well, and to make effort mindfully. And if you agree with that, you can reply Ama Bhante. So let's try that together. Tisaranena sadhing panchasilang dhammang sadhukang surakkitang katva appamadena sampadetha. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana. Very well, that's great. So I think we are progressing somewhere. So the aim is that you will master taking 3 refuges, 5 precepts in the Sri Lanka pronunciation and in the Burmese pronunciation without any paper, repeating long sentences. So I do not ask you to memorize the thing, because even if you memorize, if you then do not repeat, you will forget it anyway. So why would you be memorizing? Just let's repeat it every time we meet, and then you just happen to remember it for a long, long time. So that's one of the reasons why we are reciting them every single time we're meeting. But taking the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts is also particularly powerful if you have trust in them. If you believe that following these 5 precepts makes you a noble person, then that is something that strengthens your identity as a good person. So it is very hard to find good people. It is very hard to find someone who doesn't tell a lie, someone who doesn't drink alcohol, someone who would not steal even when there is a good opportunity, someone who cherishes life even of the little living beings. So such people are very rare. If you follow the 5 precepts, you become a rare person. You're no more ordinary. And this may strengthen your identity as a good human being and create some kind of confidence and faith and self-support, so to speak. but at the same time, other people will notice that you are a person who knows what they want. So you know what you want. When you know what you want, and when this thing that you want is good, well, then other people appreciate your presence. And because they appreciate your presence, first of all, they're happy that you're close by, so they're happy to be your friend. But of course, they're also happy to support you with anything you need. So that's a very successful situation. And at the same time, you have someone else who you can trust, because they know that if you can trust them, then you also will be happy with them. Because if you are not happy with them, then what for is that they are happy with you, right? So there is a high probability that if someone appreciates you and trusts you very much, they also will try to be appreciated and trusted by you. And that makes them a noble person. So through your own example, you are able to influence other people around you, so that not only that you create nice life for others by you being a good person, but also others happen to create a nice life for you. It may take some time to be recognized by your society, and that's part of it. Being a very good person is sometimes not desirable if you live among too many evil people. But that's part of it. That's part of life. Life is hard, and so we do our best. And we have to get through all of these difficulties. And then come the fruits. And when you see that really people started to trust you, and they see, aha, that you have passed all of their tests on lying and on drinking alcohol and so on, when they invite you or force you to break the 5 precepts, well, then at that time you gain a very strong, very powerful trust, even stronger than you would in Myanmar. Because in Myanmar, nobody would test you. So of course, they would not know. In Myanmar, if you follow 5 precepts, well, then that's beautiful, and that's it. In the US or in Europe or in Australia, if you follow the 5 precepts, well, that's weird. That's strange. So people don't want to believe it. That's why they test you. And then when they test you and you pass the test, well, then they believe you. If you fail, well, then you're a liar. So it's quite a challenge, because you must never fail. If you fail one time, you fail forever. So you always must be very careful and be the exemplary person for everyone. Again, you don't do it for them. First of all, you do it for yourself, so that inside you know that you're a good person, and also there is a potential that at one point people will start to trust you and associate you and support you in exactly that what you want to do. All right, so that's why you're taking the 3 refuges, the 5 precepts. You're reminding yourself, hey, this is me. I am a good person. And you strengthen this intention, this aim at being a truly good, reliable, trustworthy, noble person. Does anyone have any question about that, or any concerns? Or if you have any experience that people in your environment have noticed and either accepted or not accepted the way you do things, please tell me. Nothing yet? Okay, that's good. Or if you did, but you're shy to tell, well, you can tell me in Viber. And if there is any difficulty, I'll do my best to support you or to provide some advice. Sometimes the 5 precepts are quite complicated to understand in certain difficult situations, so you may like to open yourself up and tell me, so that I can support you in following them and make sure that you are joyful in following the 5 precepts. All right. Then now we are moving on to our book. Previously we were talking about the chapter 5, sleep. Is that right? Yes, Almo says yes. So what about, so did anyone read chapter 6? Almo, did you already read chapter 6? Do you have your notes from there? Great. And Caitlin?
I'm currently looking for my notes.
Okay. And Lenghong, have you already read chapter 6?
Yes.
Yes, great. And Marinda, have you already seen chapter 6? You haven't yet. Okay, so that's no problem. So I will ask Marinda to read chapter 6. Chapter 6 is about 10 pages long, and then there is chapter 7, which is probably a little shorter, maybe 7-8 pages. So Marinda, do you think you would be able to manage reading chapter 6 and 7 until our next meeting next week? It's about 20 pages maximum. Sorry? Yes, that's great. Yes, it's these are practical points on how to get through the adolescent period. That's the way how they teach it to us now these days at the university. Today I will be writing a paper on adolescence addiction for the university. So I've already downloaded some research papers, and I have to read them and then explain what are the difficulties with addiction, like drug abuse and that kind of thing, alcohol addiction and cigarettes addiction and marijuana, or how do you call it? Weed, you call it weed, right? So these things, I have to write a paper about teenagers today. If I don't write it today, I must write it tomorrow, and if I don't write it tomorrow, then I will be late, so they will remove my points for being late. I find that just so funny because I'm following school after 10 years of non-schooling, so submitting work late and getting less marks is just so, how to say that, it's funny. I find it just so funny from the point of person who is let's say adult and has responsibilities in the school, basically is in the secondary place. Removing marks for being late is quite funny, but definitely in the time when you do not have a job, or when you are not fully employed, or when you are not self-subsistent, so to speak, you obviously need to be on time so that you show that you're a reliable person. But when we have to take care of ourselves and we're not with our parents anymore and things, then removing marks for being late, I think, is a little strange, at least. All right, so you can enjoy reading this book. After reading this book, there is coming. We will be reading a Buddhist book, which I think is one of the most interesting and one of the basic books that everyone should be reading to understand deeper teachings of the Buddha. However, before that, I want to make sure that you all are safe and that you know how to deal with your body and with your mind, so that you survive, and so that you're happy, and so that you have the right attitude to get through your difficulties without unnecessary additional problems. So that's why we are reading the book, so that you understand yourself, so that you understand me, so that I understand you. So 3 benefits. Now, taking risks. So I would like to ask Leng Hom to read for us her notes from chapter 6, please.
I need notes, but I have to 2 seconds. Okay. see. Number 1 is, in general, teen brains get more of a sense of reward than adult brains.
Teen? I didn't hear you well. Can you please repeat it?
In general, teen brains get more of a sense of reward than adult brains.
Teen what? A brain. Aha, I see. Teen brains. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Do you have a second note?
Adolescence is a stage of development in which teens have superb cognitive abilities and high rates of learning and memory because they are still riding on the heightened synaptic plasticity of childhood.
It's a little hard to understand. Can you please repeat it? I'm sorry, but the pronunciation is really not clear to me.
Adolescence is a stage of development in which teens have superb cognitive abilities and high rates of learning and memory because they are still riding on the heightened synaptic plasticity of childhood.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Then what about Caitlin? Can you read for us your notes?
Some of my notes was that adolescents tend to make decisions quicker compared to children or adults, especially when it comes to taking risks. And the second one is that the reason why is because adolescence is usually when kids like separate from their parents to like get independence.
Yes, that's right. Yes, then there is this there's this desire in teenage life. What happens is that you gradually learn to be separate from parents while you're still not separate, and that's where comes the conflict, because you cannot be separate yet, but you have to train yourself to be separate. So then it's very hard. So you want to be separate, but you don't want to be separate. So what are you going to do? So sometimes you want to be separate, sometimes you don't want to be separate. And the parents also, they sometimes feel like, oh, now you need to be able to be separate, but actually you cannot be separate. So now you need to be able to think like an adult, but at the same time you need to follow the instructions. Now at the same time, you need to be able to resolve your problems and to avoid difficulties and to be reasonable and wise, but at the same time you need to follow whatever the parents tell you. So those are two quite opposing things, which are very difficult for both the teenagers and the parents. In the teenage teenage period, what happens is also this this hormonal imbalance. So men get a lot of testosterone, and therefore, but they do not have the sufficient brain capacity to deal with that. So testosterone brings a lot of masculinity, and with it a lot of anger, a lot of well, rather to the side of anger, violence, and things. So men sometimes have difficulties dealing with that. For ladies, for them, the hormone estrogen brings a lot of weird waves of sadness, weird waves of Yes, especially sadness, a kind of like depression, pain, and things that they absolutely don't know what to do with, and they're totally unexpected and very strong. So again, in that case as well, the hormonal changes are very strong, but the brain is not sufficient to deal with these difficulties. Then later, when the person becomes an adult, the brain is more complete and the hormones are better controlled, and therefore it's more comfortable. The adolescent time is challenging not only to the teenagers but also to the parents, because the parents are not actually clear about how to deal with the children. So are they still children or adults? It is suggested that adolescents, that teenagers are considered to be adults. So if the adults treat you as adults, then it is easier for you to create your identity of a human. And therefore, it is not advisable to treat you as children, because then it's very hard for you to create that identity of an independent, self-subsistent person. And therefore, if someone deals with you as an adult and they require to think wisely and to be independent and to make decisions that will decide serious things, now, like it or not, then that person is actually doing you good, except that there is this danger that you may make those decisions wrong. So again, that's why the adolescence is so challenging, and many adolescents, many teenagers do not survive it. They just die because, sorry, they failed. So it's a big test, it's a big exam, and that all is combined with the stress that's coming from school, from family, from future opportunities that you may wish to get, from some hobbies, maybe from some romantic relationships that appear, and so on and on. And of course, a huge peer pressure where your friends suggest to you, well, why don't you just drink some alcohol now? Or why don't you just come for our wonderful party where you can examine a few special drugs like marijuana and cocaine and heroin and so on. Why not? It's just one time in your life. YOLO. Did you ever heard this thing, YOLO? YOLO? Caitlin has, Langhong. And Almao, did you ever hear YOLO? No idea what's that. Marinda, what about you? Have you ever heard what is YOLO?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have heard it? Okay. So Alma, let's ask Langhom. Langhom, will you please explain to Alma what is YOLO?
I'm not sure. I think it's like forget everything and just do it.
Do you know what that acronym stands for?
No.
Okay. So Caitlin, do you know? You don't? So you know it just as a word, but you don't know what that word, where is the word coming? And Marinda, any idea what YOLO stands for?
I think it means you only live once, but
That's right. That's exactly what it means. You only live once. So YOLO is a very dangerous attitude. You know, it's exactly non-Buddhist. It is strictly anti-Buddhist, because in Buddhism, you only live once is ridiculous. You know, in Buddhism, you live uncountable times. You live billions and billions of times. So saying YOLO is just so much non-Buddhist. It is also non-Christian, although in Christianity you live twice, not billions and billions of times. In Christianity, you live one time here and one time next life in the heaven. But whatever way you take it, YOLO is very dangerous. And the Buddha was very careful about this attitude of you only live once, and the attitude that next life you will live forever. It's a little better to believe that next life you will live forever, because then you are trying to be a good person now so that next life you live forever, right? So that you deserve it. But YOLO is a problem, because as soon as you think that this is the only life, this is the only thing that there is, that when you die everything is gone and finished, well, then there is no reason why not to steal or not to kill or not to commit adultery or tell lies or take drugs, right? Because, well, you only live once, right? So you need to enjoy right now and right here. Who knows whether you die tomorrow? So you need to enjoy now so that you then do not repent and you do not lose this wonderful opportunity to enjoy. In Buddhism, it is absolutely the opposite. In Buddhism, we take it like, what? You have already enjoyed all of these things billions and billions of times in the past. So they are nothing special anymore. So why would you need to enjoy this drinking party or this or a drug party or some other party that are dangerous? Why would you need to go out into places that are dangerous and things if you already have done it billions and billions of times in the past? What about to do something new that you did not do in the past? And that is to be a noble person with the aim to become enlightened, because you become enlightened only once. So I have created an acronym. Let me see whether I had some. Somewhere I know today. Interesting. Somewhere I noted it. Now I don't see it. Oh, here I see it. So I have created my acronym to counter the YOLO acronym, and that is, it's a little longer, so it's not as beautiful as YOLO, and it sounds a little bit mysterious. So it is why Wesiha. It is why Wesiha. And it means you will experience consequences in the here and the hereafter. So I'm sending it to you in the chat box. If you ever want to use it, why Wesiha, you will experience consequences in the here and the hereafter. Here means this life. Hereafter means the next life. So if you do good things, then you will experience pleasure in this life and in the next life. If you do evil things, you will experience pain in this life and in the next life. That's the meaning. So why Wesiha? But if you come up with a better acronym, then I want to know it. That would be great. So why should there be acronym for people to risk their lives and to harm themselves, and no acronym for those who are wise and who cherish their lives and happiness of theirs and others, right? So that's not fair. There definitely should be an acronym for both. All right, so that's I think all from me. Caitlin, you have already read for us your notes, right? And Lengham as well, and Aumau. Aumau, did you read for us? I think you didn't, right? Or you did?
I did it like a few weeks ago.
I see. Okay, so can you please read at least one sentence for us today from chapter 6?
Adolescents frequently access stressful and other bad information on the internet. And my second sentence is, even though teenagers make a mistake and they realize it, it can be hard for them to learn from their mistake.
It can be hard for them to learn from what? From their mistakes. I see. Okay. So that's good. That's great. Yes, I will read for you my notes. The chief predictor of adolescent behavior, studies show, is not the perception of the risk, but the anticipation of the reward despite the risk. So whenever you see that there is some reward if you do something, for example, that people will like you, or that you will get some appreciation or some acknowledgement, or people will offer you money for something or whatever, be careful, because you may be actually missing the risk in that what you are doing. Something about girls in here. Stamoulis found that social isolation for girls and a lack of extracurricular activities for boys increased risk-taking behavior. So this, I think, is quite interesting, because this actually helps you. This actually provides a suggestion what to do. So if ladies engage more with people, but it was actually found that if you have a lot of friends, there is a higher chance that they will encourage you to do something risky, something really dangerous that will that may result in long-lasting suffering and long-lasting loss of your abilities to study, abilities to achieve any achievements you want, be it educational achievements or intellectual achievements, or later job achievements and so on. But it is true that it's good for you to have good friends and to associate with good friends. This is extremely important for you, because that's how you gradually learn your social life. But at the same time, you need to be careful. Even having good friends still falls into the statistic of being in danger. So you need to have friends, but at the same time you need to be safe. Those two things do not go well together. Therefore, it depends on you that you are very careful, very mindful, and that you are strong in your principles. Then, in other words, socializing with friends or playing team sports appear to have protective value in keeping teens out of risk-taking troubles. But this probably is an old research, it seems to me, because what we are studying now at the university is basically the opposite. It is very good if you have extracurricular activities anyway. So playing sports is definitely a good idea. What about activities that are rather intellectual? The more you meet intellectual people, the more intellectual friends you will have, and therefore the more higher standard you achieve. Of course, intellectual people are mocked and ridiculed by those who are not intellectual. But does that mean that I should be stupid because I don't want to be ridiculed? Probably not, right? I do not need to be stupid to avoid ridicule. It's just that life's like that. As soon as you start to be successful, there will be jealous people who will try to drag you down. They do not need to worry to ridicule you, because they have nothing to lose. You have a lot to lose, and they're jealous about that. So they want to drag you down. Whenever you are right, whenever you are successful, you will meet with a lot of people who will try to harm you. But at the same time, you need to realize that there is more harm in following the fools than in resisting the fools. Am I clear? Did you understand what I mean? Okay, so there is harm in being with the fools. I don't know whether I shared with you that story about the girl who was killed by her two friends. Did I ever share with you that story? Alma seems to know. Caitlin seems to not know. So recently I have read a story about three girl friends who you know, they were smoking marijuana and things, and they were going outside, and the two girls fell in love with each other, and then the third one, she was not okay with that. And then when the third one was not okay with that, the two girls were not okay with the fact that the third one was not okay with that. And then the two girls invited the third girl at night, late at night, to go outside to smoke some marijuana. And then when they went outside, when they were going to smoke marijuana, the two girls, they killed the third one and they buried her in the ground. So sometimes it happens. Well, my question is, what would happen if she did not smoke marijuana, right? She would probably not know the girls, and then she would probably not get into that danger. So that's my takeaway. Why would I be with friends who are doing evil if I don't have to? And I don't have to. So you all have the power to choose your friends. If someone is angry, well, anyone can be your friend. It's just that you need to have the freedom to decide what you do. If people ask you, hey, come on, drink alcohol, right? Then we are all doing it. You need to be free. Then you say, yes, I want to be free to decide whether I drink alcohol, but also to not drink alcohol. You need to have the freedom not just to drink alcohol, but also to not drink alcohol. You need to have that power. And you need to explain to your friends, you know what? I believe that not drinking alcohol is better for me. You believe that drinking alcohol is better for you. Well, you see, we both have our freedom, so let's exercise our freedom, right? Isn't that fair? So you can try to say it and let me know what they answer. I believe that freedom needs to be fair on both sides. I need to be free to drink alcohol, but also I need to be free to not drink alcohol. And many teenagers don't realize it. Many teenagers actually, when they drink alcohol, they do not drink alcohol because they want to, but because they are forced by the society in which they live. And they see everyone, you know, is drinking alcohol. Okay, so I need to drink alcohol too because everyone is drinking alcohol. Well, then that is no freedom, right? If I cannot decide not to drink alcohol, then that means I'm not free to not drink alcohol. I need to have my freedom to decide not to drink alcohol. So the same thing is about telling truth. So I need to have the freedom to tell truth. If someone else wants to tell lies, then they feel they have freedom to tell lies. Well, okay, but I want to have my freedom to tell truth, right? You feel you want to have freedom to tell lies, that's your problem. I want to have freedom to tell truth. So do not limit my freedom, because I also do not limit your freedom. I'm not prohibiting you to drink alcohol, therefore you definitely should not force me to drink alcohol. So it needs to be fair on both sides. Teenagers forget that. Teenagers think that when you're at home, you're prohibited to drink alcohol, and when you are with friends, you're prohibited to not drink alcohol. So then wherever you go, you are not free. Isn't that strange? So you can fight that. It is a difficult fight. But if you are intelligent, if you keep sober, then it's easier. Okay, anyone has anything to say? Anything you would like to mention, suggest, ask, share? Nobody has anything to say? Okay, no problem. So it was a pleasure to see you all, everyone. I hope that next week, Saturday, yes, I should be available. So next week, I'm not going abroad this time. I will just go to the border and then turn around with a new visa. So next week we definitely should be meeting. And I would like to suggest to you all that you read this chapter 7 on tobacco. That might not be related to you as much, but still it is good to know what cigarettes do, how do they work, how serious is that case. And that's it. Thank you everyone for coming. It was a pleasure to see you again. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be successful in everything you do.
Thank you, Venerable Sir. Thank you. Sorry, I have my data computer is having problems, so I had to try with my iPad on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining today. And before when we leave, let's greet to Seattle together. Miranda, unmute your microphone. Okay. All right. Okay, let's greet together to Seattle. Thank you, Venerable Sir. Goodbye.
Thank you, Venerable
Thank you, Venerable Sir.
Sir.
Bye.
Yes, thank you.